Today's Thursday, it's the 3rd of July, it's 2025, and we're in Palma, and we've just had a coffee already, and Anita's going to go off with Yvonne for a little wander, and I'll go and see what I can find.
See you later.
Well, the ladies are going off that way, so I'll go and wander this way. I got the bus in this morning, met a couple from Halifax who are on holiday here in Mallorca, and well, they seem to be their first time into Palma, so giving them a few indications about places to go, and hope they have a lovely day. You never know, might bump into them again. Well, I'm going to start with a little wander down Sindicato, and the nice thing about here is that you always find some shade, so I think the temperature's maybe just a degree or two cooler today, so it's not quite as hot. It did say on the news today that it was up to 29 degrees, and I think that may well just make it that little bit more bearable. You walk down here though, and you can actually, there's a door opens, you walk past the door, you find the air conditioning blowing out, so you get these cool wafts of air. How pleasant is that? It says 2 degrees on that one up there. Well, maybe. And I'll be posting this video in the morning, I guess. That's the plan. And that means it'll be the 4th of July when it goes out. So happy 4th of July, Independence Day, to all the people across the pond. Hope you have a great day celebrating. I'm sure you do. A few fireworks. We used to have a party here with our friend Rick and his wife Jeannie. They always used to organise a 4th of July party. For many years we used to do that. Sadly, just 2 years ago Rick left us, and he was very sadly missed. But left us with lots of happy memories, and that's what you've got to cherish, isn't it, when you lose someone? A couple of little updates. One concerning my car. Lots of people have been asking me about how's your air conditioning on your car going. Well, it's gone. That's it, full stop, gone. I started off by taking it to a small garage which was going to just put some gas in for me. They told me they couldn't do it, and they sent me to another specialist who did manage to get some gas in and look for leaks, and they couldn't find them at that time. It was all working fine as I left them. By the following morning there was no air conditioning again. That was on Saturday. Monday morning I took it back to them. They kept it all day, and well, he said we found a couple of leaks in a radiator that's at the front of the car, and gave me the presupuesto, the estimate for the repair, which is going to lead to at least, well, over 800 euros, and already paid 200 euros. So we're paying over 1,000 euros. And even then, not really any guarantee that it's going to work. And they weren't going to come up against any other problems. So the car's over 12 years old now. And I said it's not really worth spending that amount of money. And the car still works, no problem at all. And we're away for quite a lot of the summer, so we'll just leave it and not have air conditioning in that car. We are lucky in that Anita has a car where the air conditioning does work. I'm just coming down here really just because the artwork is really quite pretty. Oh, and that, how about that? I'm going to have to take a photograph of that. Well, there's some nice street art which I really think that's beautiful. And there are some other little bits of street art that are really nice, and then you get idiots who come and spoil it by putting rubbish on the walls. This is one down here. that I quite like as well, which is not that one, but this one down here. I don't want to grow up. Carry on down. There's another one I hadn't really noticed this one before. This one just says, I want to grow up. And those two have actually been there. And certainly the old man's been there for a long time. I hadn't actually seen the one further down before. Not really walked down those side streets. Well, Anita says I've got an hour or two to walk around, so I had thought of going to, there's an exhibition on. I'll have to leave it to another occasion now. Perhaps when we come back from our trip, there's an exhibition on Chopin and George Sand's time here in Mallorca. So normally I would go that way. The Plaza's down there, which is a shopping centre that's been closed down for a long time. Nothing much has happened. At least I've not seen anything in the news about that. They're still deciding what they're going to do, but eventually there's going to be a big change here in Plaza Mayor. This is Plaza Mayor, the big plaza where lots of things go on throughout the year. But the idea is to transform this into something completely different, which is on two levels. So the present level and a lower level, and a big part of it will become open. Just around it we've got lots of restaurants, which they will get busy later on. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's a bit early. And the street vendors that normally are in here haven't even had time to set up yet. So that road now takes you down towards the cathedral. And this road is another pedestrianised shopping street. I'm actually going to go out through the back of the plaza, which means I have to go in this corner down here. So the plan is for this part here to be completely open. So where I'm standing now would be down deep to the next layer down, and they'd have another area. And that might be interesting, that it'll be light, it'll be airy, and it could be shaded. So interesting thoughts. Below here also there's 3 floors of car parking as well. So car parking is already set up. Leaving Plaza Mayor behind us. We used to come here quite often because this is where the British consul used to have the offices. And we used to have a British consul. In fact, that used to be the door to the British consul. We don't have a British consul as such in Mallorca anymore. Our consul is based in Barcelona. So we don't get to see the British consul very much, considering we have so many Brits here who actually live here and who choose to holiday here. It's quite a strange move, at least we thought, for them to get rid of the consulate. Well, get rid of the consul. We still have a consulate, we have an office, and there's a consular agent that is based there. So there is an office that you can go to for some help. But that's near to the Plaza Oliver Market. I'm walking down, it's getting down towards Via Roma. My knee started aching again. Let's see, get down the steps. There's a handy rail here I can hold on to. I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of walking today. This used to be entrance to the commercial centre. It's all fenced off at the moment. was wondering who was in there, but there's a guard in there. And all the lower levels below this are parking. However, to access this parking, you're actually in the low emission zone. And from the 1st of July this year, they've started issuing fines for cars that shouldn't be accessing the emission zone. So basically what you have to do if you've got a car here on the island, pretty much elsewhere in Spain as well, there are stickers you can get to go in the front of your car, and with those stickers...
Mister,
See you!
nos volveremos a ver algún día, volver a ver, estarán bien todos los trabajadores en alguna música.
As we wander up via Roma, they're setting up the stalls, setting up the fire stalls. They've been setting up, it's 11:15 in the morning. Some of them are already set up, some are still setting up. This is one of the shops, or it used to be in the galleries back there underneath the Plaza Mayor, and it's coins, but open here. It's been open here actually for many, many years, I think, as long as I can remember. There's some filming going on here. It's interesting to see what other people are doing on their equipment. Very fancy stuff. I'm going to be on YouTube. They've got lots of lovely flowers to video. They got bigger cameras than me. Always beautiful displays of flowers. And a lovely aroma as you walk down. Flower smells.
Y que aparte de las cervezas, algún tipo de flor.
I think eventually with this low emission zone, there's going to be less and less cars. So at the moment, even now they've introduced this low emission zone, there's very few cars that are not allowed to drive here. Most cars are allowed, but that is only till the end of next year. And then from the end of next year, that's the end of 2026, from the beginning of 2027, pretty much the only cars that will be allowed into this part will be those that are either fully electric or hybrid type cars which you can run on electric, and that way they'll cut out, I would imagine, a lot of the traffic here. We were walking through the Polígono, the industrial estate, and very, very few cars there had these stickers. So Anita and I don't have these stickers either. We've never bothered applying for them because we don't actually drive into this part of Palma. If we're coming into Palma, we'll catch the bus, or we'll be outside of this particular zone. Misericordia. Sometimes have exhibitions and shows and things, either in this part, or if you go up the road there, There's a really big courtyard where they had concerts. Usually I would go up this road, just Calle Olmos. I'll go a little bit further up here today. Keeping into the shade. This building here on the corner next to Misericordia is Clínica Rocher. That's a private hospital.
Que has perdido la merienda. Has llegado media hora tarde. Igualito ya llegó.
Lots of benches around here, nicely in the shade, so you can relax and take the weight off your feet, but be away from the sun. And we're at the top of Via Roma, as the sign says up there. Well, while I sit in the shade and take the weight off my feet a little bit, I've just read some news, and it's about tourist figures, and the tourist figures for the first few months of the year, in particular for the Balearic Islands. And over 4 million international tourists came to the Balearic Islands. That's Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza and Formentera. And that was actually a 4.68% increase. Not only did they come to the islands, but they spent a lot more money too. They spent a total of nearly 5 billion euros here in the Balearic Islands, and that was an 8.63%. Been reading recently, just today actually, that there seems to be a bit of a downturn in tourists. But is that being reflected? We'll see what the figures say. We keep getting these figures that say we're going to be getting less tourists, and they're all going to different parts of Europe or even Africa. Well, the figures up until May don't seem to suggest that that's been happening. Let's carry on and see what goes on. And just reading a little bit further down in the article, it says during May, just May alone, 2 million international tourists came to the Balearic Islands. So we're still including the other islands as well as Majorca. And that was actually a slight decrease, only a very slight decrease, but when you look at what they spent more money, and maybe that's because prices are going up, but there was a 5.3% increase in their spending to 2.3 billion euros. The numbers are enormous, aren't they? If you break it down for the day, the average tourist spent 221 euros per day in May. I suppose that includes accommodation and everything else that goes with it, and that's an increase of 4%. So more money has been spent coming to Mallorca and the other islands. When I'm talking about Mallorca, I tend to be picking out the cherry picking. I pick out the best bits, and I like to give a positive side to Mallorca. But somebody was saying that it's not perfect paradise, is it, in Mallorca? And no, we do have our problems. And one of the problems is people arriving on these small boats, and just over the last couple of days 25 people from Sub-Sahara have been rescued. And just to give you another figure, at least 3,063 people have arrived in the islands on 152 boats so far this year. And that's the ones that we know about, and ones that managed to have got here without being detected could push that number up significantly. So that's one little area where, yeah, maybe it's not the perfect paradise. Just looking at the figure for the whole of 2024, 5,882 migrants arrived on the islands by these irregular routes by the boats. People have asked me what happens to these people, these immigrants who arrive illegally. Well, typically they're processed by the Spanish authorities, who then determine their legal status and then what the next next steps are going to be. That might involve detention, identification, possibly deportation, so the initial processing is done by the Guardia Civil. They will, or the local police, whoever it is who finds them, and once they've been identified, then they'll go through a processing system. One of them is to determine what their legal status is. Are they asylum seekers? Do they have a legal claim to be in the islands? And then it will be decided what exactly happens to them. One of them might be they're deported. They're just sent back to whatever country if they've not been granted asylum or they don't qualify to stay here. Sometimes they may be given a temporary residence if their permission is acceptable. Some may even be integrated, that is, they'll be granted asylum or refugee status, and they may be eligible for various support services to integrate them into the Spanish society. Some of them are placed in centres, immigration centres that are operated by things like the Red Cross or other NGOs. Well, it's been a nice little break. I'm just going to have a little wander around now. So leaving Via Roma. There's a car park underneath here. And I need to find a way to cross this road. I'm going to go down this way. Doing a lot of work up there. I'm back to Calle Olmos here. That's the pedestrianised street. I'm actually going to take a left. Yeah, I could go here. This is where they're doing all the work. I used to just stop in one of these coffees shops quite regularly because a friend of mine, we've known for well over 30 years, used to have a shop around the corner here. Used to call and see him on a Saturday morning and come here for coffee. All changed now though. This used to be his shop, it's now a hairdresser's. This is an interesting shop. This is Euro Carnavales. This is where you can get all your fancy dress from. So if you've got a fancy dress party, then this is the place to come. And they have all sorts of things. So children who've been in different shows, this is one of the places they've had to come to collect their costumes. For school, for dance groups, for theatre groups, for ballet, the ballet shoes. And it's a really busy shop at certain times of the year, as you can probably imagine. You've got one of those way out parties, you need some costume, or you just need the hat to go with it. They will have it. They also sell the fireworks. It's one of the places you used to come to buy the fireworks for New Year. There's lots of restrictions on that now, so don't do it anymore. But you could get all sorts of people who'd spend hundreds of euros, all sorts of fireworks there. There's another underground car park Just the other side of this. This is one that we have used in the past. We probably won't be using it very much now because this is all the low emission zone. And I had a car break down in there once. This is Plaza. It's called Plaza Patines. Patines are like roller skates. And one time pretty much the whole of the Plaza was given over to roller skating. Now it's just the top end. And they do have a little market here. Some days. Fruit and vegetable market. And one of the really old traditional restaurants. I used to live here on the island years ago, will remember. This is Sela Sapremsa. It's mostly a lunch menu place. People come here and the old traditional restaurant. They go inside and they've got these huge barrels and ceiling fans that look as though they might fall off and decapitate you at some point, but it's a very oldie worldy place inside. But then been there for a very long time. I'll just better show you Plaza Patines. That's the plaza down there. There's a little playing area for the children, and this particular area is specifically for roller skating, and they do games in here, and a bit like ice skating. Sometimes people practicing in there. Carry on this way. A uniform shop on the corner there, particularly for hotels and restaurants, the sort of uniforms that they might want, or sort of thing. There's an entrance here on this side to Sela Sapremsa. And then you've got on the left, the big building is the tax office. And yes, it's tax time of the year, so people here in Spain have just had to do what's referred to as the Declaración de la Renta. And the Declaración de la Renta is the tax form that you have to complete every year, at least most people do. And it says whether you've paid enough tax or you've got to pay some more tax, or they're going to give you some tax left back. It's quite a complicated form. I don't know if they still do, but they used to have two versions of it, and one of them was actually called the simplified one, simplificada, and then there was a more complicated or complete one. You can do it now all online, and I guess that's how most people do their tax returns. Because we had a business, I used to have mine done by an accountant. But, so we just carried on using the same accountant. It's an antique shop, which I've not really noticed before. Interesting things. Not a street I come up very often. Yeah, so that's the tax, and that will have to be done by the end of June. And if you've got money to pay, they'll take it straight out of your account. If you've got a lot of money to pay, they allow you to divide it in two and take part now and then part in November. The other tax that has just come around for us anyway is like the council tax. That depends on where you live, what time of the year it is to pay it. And we've just paid one in Calvia. This is a Casa Marti, which is a music shop where you can buy anything musical, instruments, music, and anything pretty much associated with music and music production. Even a grand piano. I'm sure Anita would like one of them. We've got another one across the road, which is the same company, Casa Marti, with electric guitars and drums and all sorts of equipment. And I'm going to change over the sides of roads because they are jet washing the pavement. Someone was saying how well the streets are kept clean, and this is only done by people like that. It's their job. You can actually smell the cleaning fluid that's in the water. Not just water they're cleaning with, it's cleaning fluid. Gadgety type electronics and books and that sort of thing. I've actually bought GoPros from there in the past. Anyway, I'll just have a quick look to see if the military museum's got anything on. I'm not sure, I can't remember what the dates were for the change. Across the road, actually, RAC, the Royal Automobile Club. Not the same one as the one in the UK, but similar lettering. This is top end of San Miguel, going down now, walking towards Plaza Mayor, which we went through early on. It's an English bookshop if you're looking for an English book. This is called Come In, and they've got lots of English books here. So the gate is closed on the Cultural Military Centre. Nothing for me to see this month, so next month. And we're heading now towards Plaza España. Time 11:30, 25 to 12. I'm starting to feel a bit warm. One Bubble Tea. It's a new shop for me. Not normally big tea drinkers. Anita has infusions, and I do occasionally have an Earl Grey. Anita likes the, it's referred to as regaliz over here, which is like a licorice infusion. I quite like that one too. The water features all functioning. I'm just leaving Plaza España now. I'm just going to go down by the side of this church. This is where people can come and collect bread and sandwiches in the morning. Just walk down this side. I'm actually heading towards Plaza Olivar, which is where the big market is here in the centre of Palma. I thought I'd come down here, because I did mention earlier on when I was on Plaza Mayor, I mentioned where the British consulate used to be. I should show you now really where the British consulate is now, and there it is. Look up there, right near the top there, you've got the British flag, and that's where the British consulate is now. So go in through that door and then past the security. They won't just let you in, I don't think. It's not a place that we go to very often at all. I think I've only been to that one once or twice. When it was in Plaza Mayor, we used to have reason to go fairly regularly. We used to recommend that you registered every year with the consulate as a resident, a British resident in Spain. That seems to have been forgotten now. And I used to be on a committee that used to meet regularly there as well. It was an emergencies committee just in case something happened on the island that might have affected British people, holiday makers or locals. I think they were thinking of accidents in big venues like BCM, a place like that, or if there'd been a plane crash or anything like that, how would they respond? Well, I was on the committee for that. This is Plaza Olivar, and this actually part is the fishy part, smelly bit. I'm just going to have a quick look in here. I'm guessing it'll be nice and cool. Have a look at the fish as we walk down. These will all be freshly caught last night and then brought here, brought in the fish market in Palma this morning, and brought here for sale. Well, I just don't know where to start with fish. Neither Anita or I are great fishy people, so we go to a restaurant and let them prepare it. So. Always lots of ice around. And that's the fishing market. And then come out here, just the general market. And both of these have got lots of places to eat now. I think that's one of the ways that markets seem to be going, is they provide places where people can not just do shopping, they can actually go and sit in like a little cafe and they can have fresh food. Talking of which, this is fast food, Mallorcan style. You can buy a dish already done. And when we talk about fresh food, this is what I usually mean, is these things here, fresh fruit and vegetables, mostly locally grown and always beautifully displayed.
You pushed me! No.
There is a regular supermarket here as well. And then you've got the cooked meats and the fresh meats. Lots of stalls like this around this market as well. And you can even have some tapas Japanese style, some sushi. Gyros, tripe and tongue. Supermarkets upstairs. There is a car park down below. Well, my battery's about to go, and I think time to finish this one. I'm not sure I'm even going to make it to see Anita to finish the video, so it's just time for me to say bye for now, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.